Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Gay Bear. My name's Roman, and this is my coming out story. This is not your regular coming out story. This isn't about me telling my family or telling my friends they will hug me and tell me I'm special. This story is about the first time I met another gay man and how he basically terrified me so much that he kicked me back into the closet for another 2 years. This is my story about coming out. Let me set the scene for you. It's the 1990s. Being gay is still very much a taboo. The legal age of consent in the UK at that time was 21. It was illegal for teachers to talk to students about being gay, even if they felt that the student was struggling and was on the edge of doing something stupid. It was illegal for them to talk to them about it because it could be seen as promoting homosexuality. However, things are slowly changing. For the first time in my lifetime, or for the first time ever, there was actually a gay TV show. It was a gay talk show on BBC Two for half an hour once a week, and it was called Gaytime TV. And I used to watch it with the sound down, the lights off. I don't know why I used to watch it with the lights off, because the light doesn't affect sound, but whatever. I used to watch it with the sound down, the lights off, listening to hear if someone was going to come to my bedroom door and open the door and catch me. I sat there with my remote in my hand, ready to change the channel just in case I needed to. So anyway, it's 1995 specifically. I'm 15 years old. I'm still going to school, obviously. I'm young. I'm very, very, very dumb. And I'm full of chocolate and sugar. And if you thought that was going to end in any other way, shame on you. However, in 1995, it was the middle of the AIDS crisis. Back then, there was no treatment. In fact, just being gay was almost seen as being a death sentence. There are horrible adverts on TV that are dark and ominous, and it's like AIDS, stamp it out before it stamps you out. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was scared to death. I thought that I'm gay, therefore I am going to die of AIDS, because that's what happens to gay people. And that was the narrative in the 1990s. It was fear. And rightfully so. You know, many people were dying, and that was the reality of the situation. Anyway, I had recently started coming out to friends, and I had recently come out to a friend of mine called Hayley, and she knew another gay man. He was the neighbour of her cousin, and her cousin lived in central London. And I was invited to go and spend the weekend at her house so I could meet this other gay guy. And for the first time, I would actually get to meet another gay guy. This is going to be amazing. I get to talk about my feelings of the guys I fancy, football players that are cute, and then someone can actually understand me. And I felt for the first time that maybe I wasn't alone. I arrive at Hayley's cousin's house, but it's not a house. Oh, no. She lives in a duplex penthouse overlooking the whole of London. And I am instantly jealous of her life, and I wonder how she got it. Turns out her dad was an interior designer, and he was redesigning the whole building, and as part of his contract, they get to live in the penthouse. Some people get all the luck. Anyway, I don't know what her mum did, but probably something fabulous. We spent the evening just doing what teenagers do. We all smoked at that point, so we probably ended up smoking and talking crap, because that's what teenagers do. So we passed the night in that way. And in the morning, there's a knock at the door. Oh my God. And in walks a guy called Paul. Paul introduces himself to me and suggests that we go for a walk. Sounds good. we decided to go for a walk in the gay village, which for me at that point sounded amazing. Like, oh my God, I'm in central London. I'm meeting my first gay person. I'm now going to go walk around the gay village. The gay village in the 1990s was a place called Soho, and specifically a street called Old Compton Street. Paul and I chatted on the underground, the tube, the metro, whatever you call it, on the way to the correct tube station, which is Leicester Square. And we talked about normal teenage stuff like boys I fancy and football players and bands I like and normal stuff. But when we got to Compton Street, or Old Compton Street, everything took a serious turn for the dark. Now, I'm not about to tell you a story about how Paul touched me and told me I was special. This story isn't going in that direction. Paul asked me if I wanted to see what gay life was really like. And I, being 15 years old, just went, yeah, okay, that sounds great, yeah, fine. Not really understanding what that really was. So Paul took me to my first gay bar. Paul didn't take me to a bright, nice gay bar with like good music playing or something, you know, like, I don't know, the Weather Girls playing and guys drinking cocktails. No. Paul took me to an underground cruising bar. As I walked in at 15 years old to this underground cruising bar, the walls were all black. The furniture was black. He ordered me a drink, which was a Coke, and I went and sat down, and you couldn't really see like the edges of the bar or the edges of the room. The only place that had any light was the actual bar. Paul's sitting opposite me. We're sat at a table. Paul's talking to me. I'm not really listening because there's an old guy over here who must be about 60 years old who is just staring at me like intently and like licking his lips and I'm just staring at you. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Let me just stare at you. I am petrified. Scary old man staring at me. I'm 15 years old. The barman is looking at me too, but not with the same look. The barman is looking at me because he looks appalled that what he perceives as happening is that I'm with a guy in his mid-20s, maybe 27-ish. I'm clearly 15, and maybe he thinks we're on a date. So I'm being stared at by a barman over here, lips licked at me over here. The floor is sticky. I can't see the edges of the bar. There are dark areas where people can go and get to know each other anonymously. The furniture's black, the room is black, the walls are black, there's only light over there. I'm talking to Paul, or Paul's talking at me, and Paul is giving me some serious home truths about being gay and being on the gay scene. Paul's just told me that he's HIV positive, he caught it 5 years ago, and now it's turning into AIDS. Paul is telling me that on the gay scene, essentially, you can't trust anybody, everybody lies, this is, you know, you need to take care of yourself, you're number one, which in the whole, these aren't bad lessons to learn. These are good lessons to learn, but maybe not in this area or this situation. After some time of him telling me how disturbing the gay scene can be, I have already realised that I didn't really realise it was a cruising bar. I didn't really realise why it was so dark. Now, in retrospect, I look back and I totally realise where I was, and I dread to think why the floor was sticky. But after we finished in the bar and I finished my Coke, I finished my Coca-Cola and that, and Paul suggested we leave, and I was more than happy to leave. Paul then suggested that we go to a sex shop, And I'm 15 years old. I have never been to a sex shop, so to me, that sounds like a great idea. We go to a sex shop. I walk in through the door. There's music playing. It's very, very well lit, which for me was a great relief. And Paul is explaining to me what things are, like this is poppers, this is a dildo, this is whatever you can think of. We're looking at pants and clothes and rude t-shirts and whatever you normally see in a sex shop. And I'm 15 years old. It's my first time in a sex shop, and I'm probably just laughing and laughing and laughing while Paul is explaining to me what things are. When the shop owner or the person working in the shop isn't looking, Paul grabs my hand and says, "Let me show you where all the best stuff is." And he takes me down some stairs. As I go, I pass through a curtain. I remember passing through, I think, a black curtain. I passed through a black curtain, started going down some stairs. And as I started to go down the stairs, I got a smell of like musk and sweat and leather and like a metallic smell. And as I got to the bottom of the stairs, I was confronted with there's harnesses, restraints, masks, ball gags, leather jackets, leather hats, anything you could think of in leather that was dark and seedy was down there. They had a hoist and a harness, and he was explaining to me what that is. And on the wall were black and white photos of guys with other guys in dog collars. And they're in leather, they've got beards, and they're in leather, and they've got some guy on his knees with a dog collar on. And I'm 15 years old, and I'm looking around at this, and I'm thinking to myself, is this what being gay really is? Is this what this is? Am I expected to have master / submissive sort of relationships? Do I have to go to dirty bars where the floor is sticky, where old men lick their lips at me? Paul was showing me gloves that went all the way down to your elbow, and he was explaining why you would need a glove that went all your way down to your elbow. At this point, I am freaking out because I am suddenly been thrown. I expected being gay was waving rainbow coloured flags, blowing whistles and going dancing. I was not expecting it to be master, submissive, leather hats, gloves that go from here to here, and what that entails. The last thing I remember him showing me in the shop was essentially a gas mask with a hose coming off of it, and he was talking about breath control and a sort of a submissive relationship. And I was like, nope, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. See you later. And I was like, can we leave, please? And we left. On the tube ride home, or back to Hayley's cousin's house, I don't think we said one word to each other. And then when I got there, we just separated. And that pretty much was the last time that I ever saw Paul. At that point, I was so terrified with the news of if you're gay, you die of AIDS. The adverts stamp out AIDS before it stamps you out. And at that point, as a 15-year-old boy, I very much decided that I wasn't going to be gay, and I ran straight back into the closet and I slammed that door and I peeked out from the little gap and was like, I'm straight in here. So much so that a year later I was working in a restaurant, and there was a waiter in the restaurant, and he said to me, he's Italian and actually very handsome, and he said to me, I think you're gay, and if you ever want to talk to me about it, you can. Me, not realising that he was gay as well. But I was like, no, I'm not gay. No, I'm not gay. Don't worry. It's fine. I'm definitely straight. I like girls. Yeah. Anyway, 6 months after meeting Paul, Haley told me that he died, and he had died of AIDS. And really that just sort of re-cemented in my mind that all gay people died of AIDS, and it just pushed me even further back into the closet. I was finding things in the closet that I hadn't worn for years. I think about Paul. I've thought about Paul. Now I'm an adult, and this is kind of if I could find a good lesson out of it all. I think about Paul a lot, and I think about what Paul did, and I think about how Paul handled the situation that he handled, and why he handled it in that way. And actually, I'm quite grateful to Paul now, because I realise that Paul was HIV positive. It was turning into AIDS, and Paul knew that his death was pretty imminent. Paul saw me, a 15-year-old boy who was full of testosterone and was ready to go out and meet guys. And I think Paul's mission of that day was to scare me back into the closet, just for a little while, just till I was old enough to maybe do a bit more critical thinking and be able to really make choices for myself. And in that way, I'm actually really grateful to Paul, because maybe Paul stopped me from doing some stupid shit, and maybe Paul actually saved my life. So, to Paul, wherever he is now, may he rest in peace. And I hold no animosity, grudge, or anything towards what he did, because I think what he did at that time was what he saw to be the best thing that he could do for me, was to basically scare me and delay my exploration until I had a bit more happening upstairs. So to Paul, may he rest in peace.